Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and to all the moms in the house, happy belated Mother's Day. As you can see, today's topic is inspired by Mother's Day. Yes.
I want you to raise your emoji hand if you've seen the movie Baby Mama with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Steve, what's his last name?
I don't know, but I know those two.
And when I did that, man, what's his name? Steve?
Steve
something.
from the show The Office, right?
No. Anyways, he's like Tina Fey's boss, and she did something good or whatever, and he's like, I would like to reward you with 5 minutes of uninterrupted eye contact. And then he just stares at her awkward. And it made me think of that.
Do you know the game when you're not supposed to blink? It's like the no blink game. Have you ever played it? It's so hard.
You blinked!
Who's in the house this morning? Good morning, Stacy. Good morning, Carissa,
Sterling, Jeanette, Teresa, Nicole, Mark, Tina, Kayla, Stephanie,
Mark
again.
Bianca, Tammy. Good morning, you guys.
That was like a song we just sang together. Na, 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 na.
If you're a mom, do us a favor and drop a comment that says mom life, #mom life. So today's topic was inspired by Mother's Day, which was yesterday. If you're a mom, we hope that you enjoyed it and you had some fun. And most importantly, you know what I realized when I talked to all of our clients yesterday? Yes, if you're in our one-on-one, I talk to you every single day, unless you don't respond to me. You know, I realized something amazing. When a mom is committed to her health, or a woman is committed to her health, the first thing that she'll want to do, regardless of what celebration it is to take care of herself. And I noticed that, and I was like, this is so amazing. And this is exactly what it takes in order to get results. I'm not a mom yet, but I believe that most moms don't take care of themselves because they just put themselves like at the end of the priority list. And when you're a mom and you have to put fires out all day and you're like the last thing in your priority list, of course, like you making yourself a priority is never going to happen. And that's why I truly believe that when most moms say, I have no time, I'm like, you just haven't thought about how to reinvent your schedule in a way that can make you a priority. But currently you're not. And because our brain is programmed based off of habits, your habit is not to make yourself a priority. So your excuse ends up being, I don't have enough time, when that is not the case at all. If you feel like you're in that position and you're currently not doing anything to support your goals, then do us a favor and reach out to either Erin or myself later today, and hopefully we'll be able to set you up with something good.
Or Tammy.
Yeah.
Jarrett.
Yeah, please reach out to Tammy, in fact.
Moms in the house. Okay, we need to recognize because we asked them to do something. So we got Teresa, Jeanette, Sterling. Thanks, Nicole, for the Steve Martin. Josie, Tammy, Michelle, Lily.
Hi, Lily. That's a new name.
Hi, Lily. Kayla, I know you are. Tina. Oh, there she is. Stephanie. You guys are awesome. Kathy. Okay, sweet.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so don't let Mother Nature fool you. So
what the heck does that mean?
If you're a male, then and you're currently, married or dating a female, then you might indirectly relate to it. If you're a gay male, then you definitely will not relate to any of this. of what we're going to talk about in today's topic. But, today we're going to talk on flow. Okay?
On flow, Shark Week, crime scene, whatever you want to call it.
But, had it not been for on flow, of course, you won't be able to procreate and Mother's Day wouldn't exist. But, something that we notice very often is that women let Aunt Flo or Mother Nature sabotage their goals because they're focused on the wrong thing. So now raise your hand, and this is just full blown, let's get vulnerable for a second. If you base your progress based off of an outcome, do you base your progress based off of an outcome? Now, what does that mean?
Measure.
Do you measure the rate of your progress by stepping on a scale, perhaps?
By how many pounds you lost? Or an expected loss of poundage. Fattage.
Poundage. Do you? Do you?
Or another way to know the answer to that question is, do you get discouraged when you don't see a number you're expecting on the scale, though you have put in the work you believe required to achieve the number that you do not see on the scale? Do you let that define you, or do you let that actually negatively affect or impact the rest of your day?
Okay, let's see this. And the reason why we're asking it is, of course, we've been there too, but the intention behind today is to really help you shift your perspective and provide you with some truth so that, you take a second to really reassess and see, what's really the problem? Is it what's inside here, or is it here? So let's see.
Let me scroll because #left-handed.
Oh, it's right.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, Monique, yes. Josie, yes. Tina, yes. You want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Jeanette, not anymore. Stephanie, yes, I'm competitive. Sterling, nah. Carissa, definitely. Kayla, yes. Monique, I try not to, but I still do. Way to be honest.
Yeah.
That's good. Joy, I measure it by my current efforts, how sore my body is, etc. Okay, good. So some of you guys are and some of you guys are not. The majority is a yes.
Right. And that's what I assumed and I had hoped to see, but of course you don't want to come to any assumptions.
I think hoped is the wrong word. You expected to see that.
Expected, yes.
We don't hope to see that because we actually are going to teach you. Now let's go forward.
English is a second language, so sometimes,
I'm really just here to entertain and be the translator.
Okay, so when it comes to on flow, now here's the thing. If you will ever step on a scale, either when you're right before starting your period or during your period, especially the first 1 to 3 days, you're going to notice weight gain. I don't care how fit you are. That is just a fact. Do you know why this happens? This happens because your body retains water when you're on your period. The heavier the flow is, okay, the more water you retain. And that's why we feel really, really bloated. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, let it come out already. I'm so over this shit. But, the reason why it's important to not focus so much on what you weigh, but rather on your efforts, especially around that time of the month, is because the scale is going to show you something that, for one, you probably don't expect, and for two, probably something that you don't like. Now, if you define your self-worth based off of a number on the scale, then we can only assume that that will lead to a self-destructive behavior. Now, what I mean by that, if you haven't mastered food freedom and don't fully have a harmonious relationship with food, then what you'll notice is that you will probably self-sabotage by eating a bunch of shit. And I'm telling you this because I've been there. You're like, because clearly it's not working, so might as well just eat an entire sleeve of cookies.
Right. It's like we give up because we think that the actions we've taken have led to us gaining weight, when in fact, any day your weight will fluctuate up or down, like up to 2 or sometimes 3 pounds. So even when the scale goes down, like absorb this for a second. Even when the scale goes down, that doesn't mean you've lost body fat. But for some reason, we're happy when the number gets less and we're unhappy when the number gets more. When really, I use this example every time. If I drink this entire shaker bottle, this entire 20 plus ounces of fluid, do you think that if I get on the scale before I drink it and I get on the scale after I drink it, it might not make too much of a change actually, because it's not that big of a thing. However, does this weigh anything? Does this have weight? Like, is there weight? Will gravity take it to the floor if I drop it? If the answer is yes, and you put it in your body, you automatically weigh more. Ta-da! Yeah. Or if I take a massive dump,
you
the size of a newborn baby,
you know that you've all had that one.
I'm gonna weigh 7.5 to 8 pounds less.
Wait, so this is a side topic, but of course you guys can all relate, and if you're a male, then you're probably going to be grossed out by it.
You've already left by now.
But what about period poops? Like, why are they just so ferocious?
So off topic.
So ferocious. I hope that this made you laugh for a second, because most people will never talk about it, but we don't give a shit.
Yeah, let's be real.
So we talk about shit. Anyways.
Literally.
Yeah. Okay, but you know, so don't let Mother Nature fool you, because if you were to step on a scale either right around your period time or the first couple of days of your period, because you're literally like bleeding out, like, I mean, look how many tampons you fill on a regular basis, right? Like there's water retention. So like the more you retain water, the more you weigh. The scale's gonna show that you weigh. Right. I don't know why I went around in circles saying it. But here's the thing. If you don't acknowledge that perspective and embrace it, here's what can happen. Okay? That self-sabotage can actually lead to weight gain. And this is something that we see happen on a very regular basis. So for example, okay, even if you were to be like 100% throughout, you know, the month until you hit PMS week, right? And you step on a scale during PMS week and you're like, man, what the heck happened? And then you're like, well, obviously things are not working, so I might as well just say fuck it and start self-sabotaging. Look, if you have that perspective, you will eventually gain weight. Okay, because...
Can I add to that too?
Yeah.
It turns into a jail. Like you literally become a prisoner of the scale. Like you have no freedom in your mind. Every second you step on the scale, you're terrified. We know, like we've both been there, right? Like, oh dear God, please, I hope it's lower. And if it's not, then you're like, there's so much discouragement, you know, and a lot of people I know in our groups, we've helped overcome this, and it's so ridiculously freeing. And that's the best word for it, which is why I say you're in jail if you do have this kind of codependent relationship with the scale. You know, and shout out to Sarah Novick is one of our one-on-ones. She literally posted a video of her taking her scale like outside.
Wait, today she's gonna throw it in the trash, actually, because she still wants to go up in there.
So here's what I want to challenge you is, if you feel like a prisoner to the scale, and every time you step on the scale it gives you anxiety or you're scared or whatever, and if the number doesn't show what you want it to show, and then you're disappointed in yourself when really it's most likely not your fault, and then it just causes this chain reaction of a shitstorm, you know, mentally and physically and emotionally, then you need to throw that shit away. And I want you to take a video of you shooting your scale into a dumpster and saying, Kobe.
And
then I want you to post it on the Erin and Sarit page.
What was his nickname? Mamba?
The black mamba.
Yeah. You know, but really, in order to overcome the vicious cycle of aunt flow and the weight gain that is, you know, directly correlated to it. Again, there's a difference between weight gain and fat gain. But most people think that weight gain and fat gain is the same thing. We all gain weight during our period, but only a few don't gain fat during their period week. So in order to avoid fat gain during aunt flow time, there's going to be two things that you're going to have to pay very close attention to. Okay? For one, it's perspective. We just honed in on awareness so that you can change your perspective that weight gain and fat gain is different. And you're going to gain weight during aunt flow time, whether you like it or not, because it is a byproduct of water retention. Okay, so you're gonna have to change your perspective. So that's one. We give you permission because now we provided awareness. Okay, I give you permission. So now it's time for you to surrender. Choose to surrender.
Hey, Rachel, she said she stepped on her scale every day for 2 years. It's like a horrible habit and cycle to get stuck in. However, my question is, do you still have it and do you still step on it?
And where are you at in relation to your goals? Did it serve you any good? So that's one. For two, the second thing you're going to need to do in order to really overcome, you know, the weight gain that's directly correlated with aunt flow, and to overcome it is to take ownership. Most of us don't take ownership, and that's the freaking problem.
We want to blame.
Right. We want to blame the scale, we want to blame our periods, we want to blame our emotions or our lack of control of our emotions. There's only one person who can control your attitude and your actions, and that's called you.
That specimen.
And most people don't. But if you're in this group, you know that we're all about the hard, cold truth, and you know that you're meant for greatness. And greatness requires you taking ownership for better or for worse at all times. So now, let's say you're like, oh shit, I stepped on the scale. Now I really feel like eating this something. This Chobani Greek yogurt. Not saying that it's bad or good or anything, right? It came to my head. You know, you need to take ownership of what you're eating around your period. Most people don't. Most people give themselves an excuse. Oh, I'm PMSing, I'm having a craving.
Yeah, and it's true that will happen. And for everybody, it looks a little different, like some, you know, difference, change in mood or irritability or whatever. But at the same time, it's good for you to recognize those things. And though we don't have, if we want to be honest about it, actually, we do have control over whether or not we have a period. There are surgical procedures. However, if we let nature run its course, then the control that we have is only in our response to what happens that week, right? So I am literally just getting over mine right now. And when it started, it was literally right before we did a live workout, and my freaking uterus was hating me, and like I couldn't even do a full jumping burpee. But I did my best. Like, I showed up. I have control over my response. I have control over how I show up. I have control of the things that I do, that I think, the way that I behave. All of these things we have control over. And so if we know that our actions are aligned with the goal, but we choose to let the scale dictate that, when we know better, it's only ruining us. So, who was it that said, okay, Laura, I'm a prisoner of the scale. I need a video from you today, Laura. Tag me in it. Remember what I said? Kobe.
Mamba. So, I believe that...
Wait. Monica, I've been weighing myself every morning before I shower. Not ready to shoot it out yet, but I'll get it out in my bathroom. If it's in your house, the question is, how long have you been doing it, and how... I would even say it's almost an addiction.
It is.
For some people.
Well, my question for you is, what is the intention behind doing it?
Yeah.
What are you looking for? Affirmation from the scale?
Is it serving you? That is the real question. Is this serving me?
Positively.
Positive service. Yeah. Service, I would say, is positive.
Yeah.
But if it's not serving me, what is it taking from me? Because those are the two options. If it's not serving you, it's taking something from you.
Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one source to the next.
Yep.
The reality is that the week of month flow is an opportunity for you to test how you show up in life. It's a great test for discipline. We all have more cravings, right? Most people give in. You don't have to. Most people get away from doing things. I remember when I was in high school, so many girls, like, it was a thing. So I went to high school in Jamaica, and there were so many girls who literally did not come to school when they were on their periods. Like, imagine if you were to not show up in life when you're on your period. Let's say it's like 3 days out of a month. That's like 10% of your life that you're like, I'm just gonna chill because I'm gonna create the story that this thing that's bleeding outside of me is ruining my life. Again, it goes back to the topic of ownership. How you show up, what actions do you need to take? How do you treat your body, right? How consistent or inconsistent you're being, right? And most of us really let, on flow, ruin us. And it's an opportunity for discipline. Yes, it involves pain, it involves discomfort, we get it, but it doesn't mean that you have to cave into it. Most of us just choose to, because for one, society gives us permission, but we live in a society that breeds average, right? If you're in this room, you're not average. You're meant for greatness. And for two, because it's painful, right? So when most people experience pain, they play victim. But it's up to you to rise above that. And instead of playing victim, to say, I'm in charge. See what I'm saying with that?
So, we need to wrap this up soon, but Monique, going just for closure, said, I'm in the Navy and I have to be under a specific weight. So I'm going to challenge you, Monique. We work with a lot of Navy, completely understand, that. But if you are well under the weight to the point where there is no concern, then you don't need to scale. And there's a reason that if you need the scale because you're hovering, there's a reason you're hovering, and the scale could be causing part of it. Because like we said, when you get on the scale, if you don't see what you need to see, you're like, okay, let me go on a diet. Let me never eat a carb. Let me cut out all sugar. Let me go work out for 3 hours right now, and then for 8 days a week. And then let me do all these things, and you can't keep up with it. So then the fuck it moment, boom, and you eat all the food. And then, or you're really consistent for like, oh my gosh, 4 days in a row. And then you weigh yourself and you're like, no change. And then right? Like, it could be contributing to the reason that you're hovering on that borderline. Focus on your actions. Stop weighing. And I promise you that you will get the results. And I remember sending you the link to the transformation. But I don't believe that you are in that group. If you are, you're on the right path. If you're not, we need to talk. Because if you're just hovering, then you're literally going to be trapped to weighing yourself every day.
So I want to say something, and you guys know that I love this country so much, right? But there's something that I really struggle with, and again, I study patterns and everything, and I noticed that any person who came to us from the military has the same issue. And it's called self-worth based off of a number on the scale. And it really pisses me off because when you define your self-worth, you let an organization, an amazing organization, however, it's an organization, you're being told a story that your self-worth, your promotion or something is based off of a number on the scale. Guess what your only focus is now going to be? That number on the scale. And when you focus your self-worth based off of a number on the scale, then you don't focus on your actions. And your actions are literally the only thing that are going to lead to an outcome. And if each and every one of us were to be obsessed with the actions that we take or don't take, like we are obsessed with what the scale says, then guess what? We'll be in a different place. And I noticed that with literally any Navy person that we worked with. I don't know if it's because of their tests or whatnot, but it's so frustrating because you guys are they don't realize that they're holding you back.
I wouldn't even say that. I mean, they're encouraging, yes.
They're encouraging a standard, I get it.
They're encouraging a standard unintentionally, like I'm sure they're well-intended, right? But it's what our minds do with it. So I'm not going to blame the Navy. I'm not going to blame anybody for holding up a specific standard. I think the standard is not even a very high standard, to be honest. No, it's not. I think it's simple. However, if it were just a matter of eating the things that we know are better for us, because let's be honest, we all know what foods are going to help us feel and look better. And we all know what foods are not going to. But if it were as simple as that, we wouldn't be overweight extremely as a country. So, I mean, that's because there's a lot more mental.
Right. For men, I see it making sense a lot more because dudes are like, this is what I'm supposed to do, so I'm just going to do it. With women, we're gonna run stories in our head, overanalyze, talk shit, and I'm like, it doesn't work that same way with women, and I can see why they would do that because, in my opinion, the military is extremely patriarchal. So women get, treated the same way as men. However, we operate very differently. And I think it leads to a lot of self-worth issues for any female. Even when we worked with Britta, we once worked with a Marine who, literally probably one of the most shredded people I've ever met. And she defined herself based off of a scale. And I'm like, they're literally brainwashing you. So imagine if you're not like Britta. It's really hard to look like Britta, just saying. Like, I work really hard, and I would say that I look like Britta.
You'll never look like anybody but you.
Right.
You're the same amount of leanness, you just carry it differently.
Right.
But
right.
that's another topic that we could go into is
right.
comparison syndrome and all of that. But I don't think the standards are unrealistic, even if you do have more muscle. I think BMI is stupid and unrealistic because of that. However, I think that there's a little bit of honesty that needs to happen from the inside.
Yeah.
Ownership. And yes, Nicole Carey, I love your idea about having a shooting contest with the scales and blowing them up.
All the Navy people, can we?
I think I'm gonna smash mine. This is so good.
Sarah Novik, it begins with you. You can post a video today because that's a part of your plan, anyways. But you guys, you now heard it. There is awareness with regards to on-flow. Weight gain just happens when you're on your period. That's a byproduct of water retention. How you react to it, however, is totally up to you. Remember, this is what we talked about when we interviewed Marnie on Friday. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. All the women in the world get their periods, but only some don't let it affect them. And we hope that you are one of them after hearing this period, after hearing this episode. So, shift your perspective, surrender to the fact that during that week, you're just going to gain weight. However, weight gain and fat gain is completely different, okay? All you have to hold yourself accountable for, though, is the actions that you take, which is something that you need to do on a regular basis anyways. So if you're obsessed with the scale, for one, you can kiss it bye-bye, especially around that week, because it's not going to serve you any good. Because quite frankly, I believe that if you're obsessed with the scale, then you're more obsessed with the outcome rather than the actions. It's almost like becoming an entrepreneur and within 90 days saying, I'm not a millionaire yet.
This
is not working. Imagine if this is what we said, right? But it's literally the same thing. It's all a matter of perspective, right? So shift your perspective to one thing and one thing only. Your body is a byproduct of the actions that you take, and the scale does not say enough. Of course, if you're just getting started on your journey, then the scale will say a lot that you just didn't take care of yourself for a really long time and you got shit to do. Great. However, if you've been consistent and you're up a few pounds or down a few pounds, it doesn't mean shit. It really does not mean shit. So measure your actions more than you measure the weight on the scale.
And please do yourself the greatest favor that you can ever do yourself and be fucking patient.
Yeah.
And look, I'm also I'm guilty of wanting things now. That's just kind of how our world has evolved over the last decade plus.
I think we've always been impatient though, as beings, but.
I mean, if you ever watched Andy Griffith show or whatever man, remember when commercials were 3 minutes long? Now they're 15 seconds because we can't fucking focus on them.
Well, our attention span is now 0.2 seconds.
So have patience, understand that, or remember that it didn't take you only 4 days to gain however much weight you're trying to lose. Right? So be patient, be consistent. And when you come from that perspective, you're going to set yourself up much better, and you're going to have, what's the word I'm looking for?
Grace?
Yes, on yourself. You're going to be gracious to yourself when you don't see, 5 pounds off the scale in 1 week, right? So remember that this stuff takes time. Good things take time. So focus on your action, be consistent, put your worth in your efforts because you always have control over that.
Wow, that was powerful.
You cannot control the outcome, but you can control your efforts. And if your efforts are not yielding the outcome over time, not within 5 days, then shift the action within your effort. Don't put in less effort or think you have to put in a lot more effort, but shift the effort. Shift the actions that you're doing because something's not working, or reach out for freaking help. It's like me trying to change the engine in a car. I don't even know where to start. How do you open the hood? I'm just kidding. I know that much. But I'm going to go to somebody who knows how to do what I want to do. If I don't know how to do it, if I'm struggling, if I'm spinning my wheels, if I'm wasting my time, my energy, my patience, and all of that, find somebody who knows what the heck you need to do. Instant gratification is a killer of your goals. Yes, Tammy, thank you for adding that. So true. All right, let's wrap it up. You guys are freaking amazing.
You guys are awesome. We hope that you enjoyed our post-Mother's Day episode about on flow and don't let Mother Nature fool you. If you know anybody who will benefit from listening to this episode, do us a favor and share it with them.
We're now charging for these videos. It's called Share It. It's the Share It fee.
If you benefited from it, share it. We hope that you guys have an amazing start to your week. It is Monday, Momentum Building Monday. So have an amazing day. If you're in your period, you know what to do.
I want to clarify though, we're not actually charging money. We're charging you to share this video if you benefit from it.
Yep. Give back. It's all about paying it forward and giving back. Have yourselves an amazing day. We're going to be looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Bye, guys.